What's going on, guys? Welcome to another week 11 of the Playbook with Joey and Zach on WZBC AM Sports Radio. We hope all's well with each of you and hope everyone got to enjoy the beautiful weather today before the snow returns this weekend, which is very unfortunate, but it's New England weather for you. Tonight, we'll start off by recapping the Hockey showdown from this weekend between Northeastern and BC Hockey, and also preview the upcoming rivalry game against BU on Friday night at Conti Forum, which is actually the second to last home game of the year for BC Hockey.
Then we're going to go into BC basketball's recent performances, including a big win over Florida State on Monday night. After that, we'll break down the current state of the MLB lockout and what's in jeopardy with spring training being delayed and inevitably opening day. Then we'll discuss what the Celtics need to do in the second half of the season after the All-Star break to stay hot, keep their win streak going, and give our predictions for how the rest of the season will go, and as well as the landscape of the NBA. So we'll hop right into it. BC Hockey versus Northeastern last weekend. Each split a home and home. Both teams winning on the road. BC winning at Northeastern Friday night 4-1, and then Northeastern winning at BC Saturday night. Friday night was a solid performance from BC, definitely surprising for me. Had a couple of good goals. Ambrosio, Kuntar, McLaughlin, Warren, all were in the scoring column, so it was good to see a win, especially against a team that kind of shut us down. TJ Centerfelder for you at the Beanpot semifinals. So good win for the team, then tough game Saturday. Saturday was looking more like the same BC Hockey team we've seen all season. But the return of McLaughlin was definitely helpful, for winning that game on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, BC started out really hot in that game, really quick. We're up 2-0, very fast in Matthews Arena. As he said, goals from Ambrosio and Kuntar. Two players for BC have been playing well all season. Northeast responded with a quick goal right after that from Machupani, but that was all they really got going all night. Eric Dopp, we've been critical of him, but he's played his best hockey that night.
He played a great game that night.
Stopped at 30 with 31 shots. Northeastern had 16 shots on goal in the third period. They only had 15 in the first two, and then 16 in the third period. They started lighting it up and played very well. 30 of 31 shots he saved. Obviously, Mark McLaughlin's return from the Olympics. Didn't get to play much. Only played in one game in the Olympics, so he came in hot, scored right away, his 19th goal of the season. He's still actually now behind Ethan Frank from Western Michigan, who's had a great season all year. He has 23 goals, so McLaughlin obviously missed some games for the Olympics. Might have hurt his chances of winning the scoring title, but still a great season, though, 19 goals.
Still a good candidate for the Hobie Baker, too. McLaughlin stands right up there right now. So
he's played well. And then
definitely been crucial to that.
Obviously, Saturday, he's played well. And then Saturday, obviously, Northeastern won 4-1 at Conti Forum. They missed a couple empty netters at the end. Ty Jackson, Gunnar Wagon. Both of them missed their chance to make it a 5-1 game. I would have liked Gunnar Wagon to get into the scoring column since he's been playing good hockey, but it's all good. Dopp played not too bad again, though. I mean, he did give up 4 goals, but 2 of them were Marshall Warren's fault for sleeping. He just let 2 passes go right by and wasn't even paying attention. So I wouldn't blame Dopp there. Not a surprise I was right, actually. TJ Semnefelder played really well. He even played well on Friday. Just a couple, deflections and stuff like that. In BC, McLaughlin had a really good goal. That was just all skill. But 23 of 24 shots he faced, he saved. TJ played very well. Eric Dopp, as I said, played very well too on Saturday. I mean, maybe one of the goals.
A couple of the goals weren't his fault, really.
Yeah, I mean, McDonough's goal was just a snipe.
Can't be frustrated with the way he played. I
can maybe blame him for McDonough's goal at the beginning of the game since it was 15 seconds in. You kind of have to be ready. But at the end of the day, the defense wasn't really paying attention either. But I'm going to blame him for that just because it was beginning of the game. You got to be locked in. But Colangelo's goal, which was the 4th by Northeastern, was top shelf snipe. It was unreal. I mean, no goalie would have stopped that. TJ wouldn't have stopped that. Levi wouldn't have stopped that. That was just unreal. Sam Colangelo had been unreal all year. He was great. And then Riley Hughes' dime assist to Matt DeMellis for a great goal. And Yakov Novak's goal was filth. Top, just took it, flicked it in right over Dopp. But that was Marshall Warren. Both of those goals, DeMellis's and Yakov Novak's, Marshall Warren just let them go right by him. I mean, I don't know. We've been critical of him and with due reason.
He tries to be a little bit too much of an offensive defenseman. You see him a lot of times pushing all the way up in, the opposing zone, trying to score goals, trying to make a highlight play, and then half the time he's just not back on defense, it seems like, and he lets guys get past him. Happened in the Beanpot once against Northeastern. We've kind of seen it. It's been a pattern all year. Been frustrating to see, especially next to a defensive or an offensive defenseman like Hellison, too. Someone that, can play in that role, and we've seen him succeed in that role before. Just having 2 guys that are always trying to score goals to hurt the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the end of the 5-game run for me and Mark Walsh. Went to 5 straight Northeastern games. Finished 3-2. Not bad. We got to meet the players again on Saturday, actually, at BC, which is really cool. Shout out to Jaden Struan and Jordan Harris, both class acts once again. TJ Semnefelder, Colangelo, Yakov Novak. They came right over, dude. Yakov, we
get him on the radio next time.
Honestly, we could ask. I feel like Struble, which we'll have Mark Walsh's opinion at some point. I'll give him a text, but I honestly think Struble would come on. He's that chill. He's a beast, and Harris too. Both class act guys. Colangelo did not have to come over to us. He did. Came over and said what's good, which was awesome. Roskies, as always, Mark knows. Paul Gerard was also there too, so my boys popped out to both BC games versus Northeastern. Obviously,
had a big night at BC after too.
Yeah, they had a good time. I mean, hey, it's always a blast with those guys. Obviously now BC has a big matchup against BU this weekend, Friday and Saturday. BU have highlighted just about every episode in the last 2 or 3 of them now about how well they've been playing. Haven't lost a game in regulation since November, which is nuts.
That's crazy.
Averaging 4 goals a game in their last 7 or 8 now. And they've won by 2 goals or more in 7 of their last 9 games, except for both Beanpot games. They only won by 1 goal, which is nuts.
Still, and yeah, just winning the Beanpot in general and being able to continue that hot streak before and after, and their Friday and Saturday night games in between both of those Beanpot games is incredible.
They played well.
Usually you see teams that win the Beanpot semifinal and are going to the final. That those weekend games really aren't as big of a deal because they're looking ahead to Monday, but BU stayed locked in the whole time and. Really, right now, they're a national championship contender the way they're looking. Yeah,
they turned it around. I mean, beginning of the season, they were really struggling. Then once they played Arizona State and won 6-0, they just got hot and didn't really lose after that. I mean, they actually won. They haven't played a game since that Beanpot final, so they actually had some time off, which is nuts. So now they're coming off 11 days of rest, which is wild. I mean, as I said last week, 6 of their last 7 games, they scored 4 goals or more, which is nuts, which is wild. That's just crazy. That just doesn't happen. And then obviously. Every game, 7 of their last 8 now, they've won by 1 goal or more. I mean, that just shows how good TJ Senderfeld was, only giving up 1 goal to them. He's unreal.
The energy in the Beanpot's different, too.
TJ was just unreal. But, so what are your predictions, though? BC, BU?
BC, BU. Friday night, Conti Forum. It's always going to be rowdy. BC finally figured out the right way to hand out student tickets this time. It just being a simple email. No going to random games or anything like that. Made it easier for all of us. So it should be a packed crowd, should be a packed house at Conti like we saw 2 years ago for the BU game. BC fans everywhere. Should be a great environment. I think the team's going to continue the way they've looked. I mean, they're very inconsistent, but, some nights they're just on like we saw last Friday at Northeastern. I think that's going to continue. I think BC is going to win this one 4-2. Saturday night at BU, I think it's going to be a different story. BU riding their hot streak and coming off a loss and kind of being fired up. It'll be a lot closer of a game, but I'm done picking against BC, even though we've had a very tough season. I'm going 3-2 BC on Saturday night, so that's my bets. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I mean, BC has picked up their first win of 2022. Now I believe they're 1-12-1 now in 2022. First Hockey East win since God knows when. I mean, it's been a while since they last won a Hockey East game, but beating Northeast was obviously a big one for them on Friday.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. Number 13 team.
Yeah, BU's played great too all year. I mean, now they're 11-6-3 in the Hockey East. Obviously, have been hot. Friday will be a good one. I'm going to go BC just in the environment too. We need BU to lose the game. I think everyone in the Hockey East wants BU to lose because of how hot they are. Everyone in the country probably actually wants BU to lose because they're the hottest team in the nation, which is nuts.
No one likes BU anyway.
Yeah, no one. I'll go 3-2 BC. I'll go 4-3 BC on Friday.
Okay.
They'll probably score more than 2 goals, I imagine, because they've scored 4 in every game. I think BC, if BC's going to win, they have to score probably 5.
With McLaughlin, BC's offense always looks good. It's just a matter of defense and goaltending.
Yeah.
Really.
I'll go 4-3 BC on Friday. Saturday, be a tougher game at BU. The last time they even lost a game at BU, I think it was an OT game to Northeastern in November or end of November. That's off the top of my head, but I think that might have been it when McDonough scored an OT. I'll go 5-2 BU on Saturday, but BU Northeastern getting can't even speak. BC getting one of those wins, coming off obviously a good game against Northeastern, which helped on Friday. Saturday obviously was a tougher one, but coming off at least one Hockey East win out of the last 2, I think if they just split this series, that'd be a positive run, especially since Northeastern and BU have been solid all year. But we'll see how that goes. And then really quick, big matchup for Northeastern this weekend against UConn Friday, Saturday. Northeastern currently has 35 points in the Hockey East. UConn's got 38. They're currently second, tied for second in the Hockey East. Northeast got a big question to answer, which I highlighted last week. Devin Levi's coming back from the Olympics. TJ Senderfeld has been great all year. Levi's record on the year 16-7-1, giving up 1.55 goals a game. He's got a 94.8 save percentage. Looking at Senderfeld, he's 4-3 on the year. Absolute stud, though. He's given up just over 2 goals a game, 2.05 goals per game. And he has a 93.4 save percentage. If it's my opinion, if it's my decision, I'm keeping TJ in. He's hot. I'd keep him in. I mean, I think after this year, I think Levi's probably going to go to Buffalo. The Sabres need him. They've used 5 or 6 goalies this year. I think he'd be probably the most stable one. I know he's young. But I think he'd be the most stable one. Northeastern's going to lose guys like Jordan Harris and Aiden McDonough.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to lose Sam Colangelo, too, to the Ducks, I'd imagine. I think one of them between
Yeah, you have a
Fontaine
lot of NHL ready
and
guys.
Colangelo. I think Colangelo's probably more
veterans.
NHL ready. I mean, we saw that goal on Saturday. I saw it right in person. It was unreal, just top shelf. But Northeastern got a big question to answer between Levi and TJ. I'm rolling with TJ, but it's a big question mark. I mean, who knows? It's going to be a big decision with Jerry Keefe. But TJ coming over and saying what's going to be about is sick.
Yeah.
TJ came right over and said what's good to us
lose.
like a gentleman. But yeah, definitely. So see how it goes. Two very good goalies. I think Levi leaves after this year anyways, and TJ will be the goalie next year since I think Levi knows. I mean, neither one of them are going to want to be on the bench. They're both too good to be on the bench. So I think Levi knows he can probably just go to the NHL and get some money now since Buffalo's been struggling.
Sure.
And,
may as well. Yeah, they could use
fourth
them
to
out
last
there.
in their conference. So we'll see how it goes.
Sure.
But all right, we'll move on.
Hey, speaking of UConn, though, big win against Villanova last night in college basketball, 70-69. Crazy win. Went down to the last minute. Villanova had the ball. Gillespie goes down with 5 seconds left. Gets a charge called on him.
Tough
Game
call.
over. Fan thrown the court. It was cool to watch.
Yeah, I only got to see the highlights.
Wish we could get a win like that here.
I only got to see the highlights. I was at the Northeastern basketball game. Tough loss last night, actually, to Charleston, Earl Grant's former team. Also, Brevin Galloway as well. Neither one were at the game because BC's playing Clemson tonight. But went to the Northeastern game last night. Shout out Tim Loftus, my boy. I had a chance at the half-court shot at halftime for $5,000. Actually, perfect height. Almost came down at the right time, just a little bit to the right. They don't give you any warm-up shots. You think they should give you one, right? Just to
you wish, but
stretch out the arms. But
they're trying to do everything they can not to go with the 5K.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't be here right now if you won last night.
No, I was straight to
I'd be doing
Paris.
this by myself. Yeah, I'd be
I would be straight to Paris if I got that 5K.
You'd be on a FaceTime on
and my brother knows as well. My brother Michael knows we'd be buying those ABs. His son Glass would be buying those two, too.
You'd probably be out of the city side for the last 24 hours.
I'd be out in Paris, dude. One-way flight, one-way ticket. But Nikola Jogo played great last night. Northeastern guide. He's a transfer from Notre Dame. Had his career high 26 points, which was great. Got to see that. Jamil Telford had a solid game. Only really scored in the second half. But it was pretty cool to get back to Matthews Arena for the hockey game on Friday. It was my first game in over 2 years, 2.5 years probably at Matthews, 2 and change. And then this was just under 2 years since my last basketball game. So it was great being back in Matthews Arena despite the loss. Always love being back there. Got to see my boy Bolden Brace as well. So
it's always good.
Speaking of college basketball, BC basketball.
Big win, yeah.
State.
Monday night, BC basketball took down Florida State. And despite being shorthanded, it's still a great team, beating Florida State, full of 4- and 5-star guys. We beat them 71-55. It was a big win. Another big performance from Jaden Zachary, who's been an absolute stud this season. He finished the game with 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's been lights out all year. He shot 4 for 4 from 3 today. He's definitely been the team's most consistent shooter this year. Absolutely great pickup from O. Grant. Someone who came out of high school, had no D1 offers, so he ended up going to JUCO. Took a prep year in there as well, and then, got an offer from BC to play for O. Grant. Absolute stud for the team. Great defender, good shooter, great playmaker as well. He's always hustling. Really brings the energy to this team. And this one is despite injuries from DeMar Langford and TJ Bickerstaff as well, which I, to be honest, thought we didn't have much of a chance with those two guys. They're probably two of our most athletic guys, especially DeMar Langford. He's easily number one in terms of the best athlete in the team. He's the kind of guy I thought we would need to beat a team like Florida State. But the team was hot, shooting from all places around the court last night, especially from deep. We shot 42% from 3. Brevin Galloway had a better night last night, going 4 for 12 from 3. Definitely good to see that after struggling a lot in his last few games. Just a great win overall for the team. Definitely excited to see that. I wish I could have been there, but we had a big intramural game to get to. Speaking of that, shout out to the team. First win ever,
First
actually.
win ever in basketball.
Playing intramural basketball.
A couple ties in there, 2 or 3 ties.
Yeah, we've had 3 ties, actually, but never a win until last night, so I guess we had good reason to miss the Florida State game. So BC is now 10-16 on the season, reaching the 10-win mark decently early in the season compared to as we've been in years past. And tonight we have a game against NC State at 7. It's actually underway. NC State's favored by 6. We'll provide live updates on that throughout the night. I'll give you a score check on that right now. Right now we got BC 10, NC State 4. Good start. Carnick's leading the way with 6 points. That's always a good sign. Whenever Carnick starts hot, it's going to be a good game for the team. You saw the way he played at Virginia Tech when he shot like 90-something% from the field. He was just lights out in the first half. Only missing 1 shot throughout the whole game. Whenever he gets going and plays dominant, the whole team does. So excited to see what happens tonight. And it seems like BC's forcing turnovers too, all ready to go. DeMar Langford just had a dunk, 12-4 Eagles, so let's go. We'll keep you guys posted on that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big win against Florida State. Any ACC win's big for BC. Obviously, now that's their 5th on the year. I think my prediction was if we get 6, that'd be a great season, just an improvement. So
we're at 5 ACC wins already.
5 solid. Jaden Zachary played great. Was 4 for 4 from 3. Brevin Galloway, not his best shooting performance. He did finish with 14 points, but 4 of 12 from 3. 33% actually you'd probably take from him with how bad he's been shooting.
Yeah, he's been really cold.
He only shoots threes, though. I mean, if you could maybe drive, maybe his threes would fall.
He passes up layups sometimes, too. There's times, he gets in the paint, and then he has a chance to go up strong for physical layups. He just always kind of passes out of those, which I'd like to see him get more aggressive. But that being said, he still has had some knee issues, so I understand if he's trying to play a little bit more conservative and just shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting in that Notre Dame game over a week ago, a week from today, actually, it was. Everyone fouled out in that game. You had Kanye Jones and Gianni Thompson getting huge minutes at the end of the game.
Yeah, we had DeMar Langford playing center at the end of the game.
Yeah, Justin Vanderbilt fouls out the first 11 minutes. Somehow he had 5 fouls in 11 minutes, and Gianni Thompson had 5 fouls in 12 minutes, which is nuts.
That was crazy. Karnick fouled out, too.
Karnick fouled out in, 19 minutes. Well, it's not even good either. I mean, that's not even half of basketball.
Yeah, Post had COVID.
Oh, that's tough.
That made it even harder. Bickerstaff was out again. So really no big men on that lineup that game. The team was impressive that game. I really thought we were going to win that against a Notre Dame team that's been really hot in the ACC, being 12-3 in the conference. Actually, one of their losses came to BC, which would have been awesome if we could have beat them twice.
Yeah.
Great game from DeMar Langford. He played really aggressive, had 23 points that night. I really thought we were going to pull away with that win. And I mean, forcing OT.
Scoring 95 points is elite for BC. You don't score 95
that
points
never
in 2
happens.
games
Especially
year.
against a team like Notre Dame that's been that hot, too, and, has beaten the likes of Kentucky, who's a top 10 team in the country. It's
squad,
great to see. I mean, that's been one of my favorite things with this new Earl Grant team is that every game this team plays hard and they stick in everything. We haven't really had any of those signature 30-point losses like we saw in the Jim Christian era. So even though we are only 5-11 right now in the ACC, I think the future is definitely bright. Considering we lost half of our team from last year, things are definitely looking up for BC. Just the way that we've been hanging in a lot of these top-tier games.
Yeah, I think defense actually is something BC's been prioritizing. Obviously, giving up 99 points to Notre Dame wasn't great, but against that Florida State team, giving up only 55 points was pretty good, especially with 14 steals. Jaden Zachary, I'd seen him hustle. I always thought he played solid defense, but I never expected to see in the stat sheet 5 steals. That's nuts. I mean, he was clearly in the passing lanes. That's great. I mean, 4 for Makayash and Langford.
Had a lot in the first half, too. Then he gets out in transition as well.
Brevin, 3 steals is actually great for him. I mean, especially since he's always running,
good defensive performance.
Always taking his time to get up the court a little bit. He's never really hustling because of that knee. Him getting 3 steals is pretty good. And then, obviously, guys that came off the bench and played pretty well. I mean, Kanye Jones added 8 points, which was solid. Quinton Post.
He looked good. He had a big-time 3 in that game, too.
Yeah, he played well.
Had a couple big-time 3s in the last few games, actually. That Notre Dame game, too. Down the stretch of regulation, he hit one. Yep, that was huge for the team.
I missed that one, too, actually. I don't know how I missed that game. But Quinton Post, though, having him come back really spreads the floor. He was 5-10 from the floor. I mean, that's solid, nice, especially since a lot of the shots he takes, typically, turnaround fadeaways for the most part. He did take a 3. I understand he's hit a couple of 3s this season, but I don't want him really shooting 3s. I want him to paint, especially since BC needs rebounding help.
Hey, shout out Abe as well. He got in for a minute at the end of the game. I actually didn't know that. I mean, it's a big win if walk-on guys are getting in.
ESPN only gave 1 minute. BC basketball 2 minutes.
0 stats, but
that's interesting.
I mean, we'll take it. Good to see him get on the court. Definitely an energy guy off the bench.
Get Jonathan Noel in, too. They
may as well.
That's my boy. Get him in. He's been putting in the work. I know he gets up every day at 5 a.m. to shoot. Jonathan Noel's been putting in the work. Love that kid. But
too bad we had the intramural game at the same time. Would have caught that at the end of the game.
Which was a big win. I mean, we've had some games freshman year where it come down to a play or 2 at the end, and we even had chances at the end of freshman year to maybe get a couple free throws, maybe make a 3-point lead, a 5-point lead, and then we miss both free throws, then we get the ball, and we turn it over, and then the other team hits a 3, and Danny dribbles the ball off his knee. And we had a lot of those games.
We've had so many close losses. We've probably lost more than half of our games by less than 5 points.
Yeah,
I'm not even
I'd say by 5 or less, yeah. I mean, this one was huge, though.
But we finally stuck it out together at the end. Hit our free throws, took care of the ball, hit our shots when we had to.
Couple of rough fouls. They were coming in and hit me pretty hard out of nowhere.
Yeah, we were ready to go when you got pushed into the
stands almost. The kid fouls me because, there was
you already got intentionally fouled, and the kid comes up from behind, pushes him in the back.
Yeah, it was nuts.
He goes over the chairs.
It was like
we were ready to go.
20 seconds left. I get the ball inbound.
Game was over.
From Tom, and I'm dribbling up the sidelines knowing the trap's coming, so I'm waiting for it. I get tapped, And then a half a second later, the kid comes in and drills me and puts me into the stands. And I said, oh, relax. I look at him. I was like, dude, easy. And then he also hit me high. His one hand was on the shoulder, the other one was high.
They had a bench that let the runner up too every time something happens.
Quick.
Whoa, ref.
Yeah, I turned quick, though, right at him. I was like, dude, relax. Calm down. You know, it's a game.
Broke his glasses.
Yeah, we ended up winning, though. We weren't going
to... had to pull that one out.
We didn't need a tech or anything. Like, I know Will definitely would.
They got a tech at the end of the game, actually, with about 5 seconds left, yeah. And then that put the game away. We got 2 more free throws.
Yeah. I mean, you've been on a hot streak, shooting your threes.
I appreciate it.
We had actually had a really good game. We talked about the co-rec.
We had another game Sunday night as well. We actually played a team that I thought was pretty good. I still think we could have beat them.
We only had 5 guys.
Yeah, we only had 5 guys show up, so we all played 40 minutes. Dan Barons played under the weather.
Yeah, he was
the equivalent of the flu game after a tough Saturday night.
He was locked in. He had a nice layup.
Yep, he had a nice layup. He put up 2 points for the team.
Me and Cruz.
We took care of business out there. I had 17, Joey had 19. So big game for us. I mean, we always talk about that we got to go off together, and that was it.
We only lost by 7, which is impressive because we were down 15.
We were down 15
a minute
at the
45 to go. We were down 15 with like a minute 45
at the half too. I think we were down 14 points, and then to start the game too, they went on a hot run. Probably with 10 minutes left in the first quarter, we probably were down like 15-5 or something.
Wow, I got my boy Eduardo listening in. He said, "No way they tackled you." And Beba, my boy, shout out Eduardo, the absolute goat. As I've said before, he's the best of the best. The guy's the man, and I appreciate him listening in. Thank you, Eduardo. You're the man. And he's from Boston, too, as I said. Don't get enough from Boston around here. He's a real one. He's a G. Love Eduardo. Thank you for listening in. Appreciate it. But big win,
get him out there next time.
Yeah, we could use Eduardo in there if there was ever a fight that broke out. He's a security guy at BC. He knows what he's doing. The guy's a goat, though. Great guy.
Yeah, we were ready to go after that. I was ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the kid meant it intentionally. Maybe he's just trying to come in and foul, but he did come in pretty hard.
The whistles were already blown. That's what I was confused.
That's why I was like, relax.
I was trying to figure out what was going on.
But I mean, we got the win, so no complaints. I obviously didn't want to say anything. All I said was relax to him because you don't want to tech in that situation, especially since we're only up 2 at the time. So, but that was it. But shout out to Eduardo.
Yeah, they kept making the game close.
The absolute GOAT. Appreciate him calling in. The best of the best, I said. I mean, truly, every conversation I have with them, is a pleasure. So, thank you for listening in. We appreciate it. But what a run, though. BC basketball got a big win against Florida State. We had our first intramural win. I mean, basketball's been looking up. Celtics
it's been a big night for Boston basketball. And then, actually, now Jason Tatum lost in the All-Star game Sunday night. Speaking of which, it was a great game. Steph Curry went off, hitting 15 threes and won the All-Star MVP. A lot of fun to watch. More fun for me than it's been in recent years watching the All-Star game. I mean, Team LeBron, you just had to know they were going to win. That team that he drafted was just ridiculous.
Steph, LeBron, DeMar DeRozan,
Giannis.
Luka, Giannis. That's nuts. What's Durant doing?
Wasn't even close. Durant, I don't know what he was doing. He probably just tried to draft his boys. Funny that he let James Harden slide to the last pick.
Yeah, he was not letting that happen.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
He was not going to draft him and put him on his team. Which is the best part of it, actually, since I think LeBron knew Harden would be there at the last pick. So Harden ended up not playing anyway. LeBron ended up getting a replacement or whatever for that. But
we should be seeing Harden come back soon, though. That'll be a big upgrade for the Sixers.
It'd be a big question mark too. I mean, especially since obviously they didn't have Simmons for this whole season. So now we're going to look at the Sixers with a second star alongside Embiid. Obviously, giving up Steph Curry was tough because he was one of the best role players this year. Played very well, but
yeah, I think he's going to be a great piece on that Steph Curry.
Yeah,
that's a scary sight.
I think they won the trade because Steph Curry's added. Because at the end of the day,
getting Steph Curry and Drummond too is not bad.
Steph Curry's a very underrated player.
I think Steph Curry's. I mean, he can start a shooting guard for that team. Seriously, you got Kyrie, Steph Curry, KD, Simmons, and who's the starting center for that team now?
Well, they gave up. They got Drummond.
Jordan.
They got Drummond now, but I don't know if it'll be Drummond. I think Blake Griffin. I mean, he starts a power forward, though, really.
Yeah, he's all right.
He could be in there.
Did Aldridge ever come back?
Aldridge, I think he did come back, but I think he might be hurt again, though, if I remember right.
Okay. He's been hurt a lot.
He's been in and out of the game for some reason. He's been hurt a ton, actually, since the last couple of years. He's never really played a full season. Last 2 or 3 now. So he was a very good player when he did.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen when Simmons comes back. I guess reports are that this week he's been ramping up his practice a lot and trying to get into game shape. Could be a scary sight for the NBA once Kyrie comes back with New York actually today, rolling back their vaccine mandate, so he'll be able to play home games again. He should be getting back out there on the court real soon. So we'll see what happens with that big three of him, Simmons, and Durant. I honestly like that big three. I mean, I don't like them, but I think it's going to be way better than what they had before with Harden. I just think Simmons is a much better fit. A pass-first kind of guy is what they need, especially next to a guy like Kevin Durant, who should be taking most of the shots over James Harden. I mean, they're both elite players, but Kevin Durant's probably the most unstoppable player in the NBA next to Giannis. So Putting the big three like that together with two playmakers and then Kevin Durant too, who's a playmaker himself, really doesn't get much better than that. Because Simmons isn't the kind of guy that needs 20 shots a game like Harden too, which I think will do wonders for them.
Absolutely.
And then adding shooting too with Seth Curry, that team scares me. The Brooklyn Nets. That big three before. Honestly, I think if they were healthy, the Celtics wouldn't have a chance against them. But I still don't think they would have been NBA champs. But now with this new roster, if everyone's healthy, I think that team can win an NBA championship.
It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I think the Nets, very good team. Obviously, with Kyrie and Durant its own. Even with Harden, I mean, that was a great team talent wise. But Harden wanted out, obviously, and then Kyrie
I still think Harden and Durant were a weird fit together because they were already kind of a weird fit in OKC back in 2012, and then they both kind of developed into their own mega stars. And then coming back together with Kyrie was just a little bit of an odd fit for me.
They only played 14 games together, so they never really wanted to all play in the regular season last year when they were all healthy. They all wanted to,
even in the playoffs though. In that series against the Bucks in the Eastern Conference semifinals last year, Harden just wasn't himself. I don't know what it was. He just had poor shooting night after poor shooting night. Then Kyrie being out as well for part of that series.
Yeah.
They never really gave themselves a chance.
We'll see how it goes, though. It's a big trade, though. Big movement in the NBA. The trade down there was a good amount of deals, but that one is definitely one that shook up the entire NBA Eastern Conference landscape.
For sure.
Since two top teams in the Eastern Conference making a deal, I mean, doesn't happen too often since no one really wants to trade within the conference. I mean, if guys are going to get traded, typically in any sport, they usually trade to the opposite conference in other divisions, so they don't have to play them as much. But,
yeah, especially. But I think both teams believe they won that trade, even though I think the Nets won just by getting Seth Curry. I think if Seth Curry wasn't part of that trade, it'd be a little bit more of a question about who won. We'll have to see how Harden plays and fits into Philly. But as it looks right now, it seems like the Nets are going to run away with this one. And that's assuming that Simmons can come back to who he's been before. Because he was a great player in Philly. It's just when it came down to the clutch time, fourth quarter in the playoffs, he took 2 shots or something one game and had no points in the fourth quarter last year. Just poor game after poor game in the playoffs. But he's not going to have to be that guy anymore. He's just going to be who he is, a point forward that creates for other guys, drives into the paint, gets buckets at the rim. Very athletic. I think he's a great piece and a great fit for Brooklyn, which is scary. For me, I'm not as worried about Philly with their new trade. Obviously, they'll get a little bit better, getting rid of Simmons, who wasn't doing anything for them this year. Obviously, Seth Curry loses a little bit of shooting, but they still have guys that can shoot. Tyrese Maxey's had a solid year.
Love Tyrese Maxey, Kentucky.
I'm a big fan of him, too. Him and Embiid should be a scary duo as well. So we'll have to see how the Celtics play against these teams. I'm excited. We got a game against Brooklyn tonight, actually. Tomorrow.
Thursday,
right?
Yeah.
No Kyrie or Simmons, as expected for the Nets tomorrow. Kevin Durant is still out as well. So should be a good win for the Celtics. Hopefully to keep the hot streak going. Celtics have won 9 out of the last 10.
That Pistons game, though. I knew
that
it was
a
coming.
tough loss
against the Pistons.
Yeah.
I
had to expect that it was going to come sometime.
I knew they were going to fall. I mean, it was a bad team. We played a lot of bad teams. You can't lose to the Pistons.
Yeah, Pistons one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. That was a frustrating loss. But can't be mad about winning 9 out of our last 10. Beating teams like the Sixers, Nuggets, Hawks, Heat. Not any bad wins. So 9 in a row is very tough to do in the NBA.
Play weaker teams, though. I mean, the Kings.
Still, it's not easy to win in the NBA in general. And then to win 9 in a row.
Magic. You know what I mean?
Got out at the right
Pistons
time.
Once. So, yeah, the Celtics currently 6th in the East. They do play the Nets tomorrow, as Zach said. No one's on the injured list, so I think this is the first time the Celtics have everyone healthy back for a while now. I mean,
that's done wonders for the team, too, not having guys on the COVID list or having guys out with injuries. Just building consistency with this lineup because
it's nice to have those two.
Before these last few weeks, we haven't really had many games at all where we have, our full starting lineup of Smart. Our starting lineup's different out there. Someone's always out. Tatum was out for a little bit. Brown was out for a bit. Williams was out for a bit. But having those core 4 guys like Smart, Tatum, Brown, and Robert Williams. Drew a blank there for a second.
Need Rob.
He's been a huge piece for the team this season. His defense has been incredible just all year. You've seen the number of blocks he's put up in the game. I can pull up that number in a sec.
2.2.
2.2. Yeah, it's just every night he's giving the other team fits. Great rebounder as well. Big hustle guy as well. He's always running down the court and grabbing lobs.
Yeah.
Definitely stretches the court for the Celtics running on the fast break.
I think the most astonishing thing with Rob Williams' season to me is, he in 2018 as a rookie only played 8 minutes a game, then 13 minutes a game in 2019, 19 minutes a game in 2020. Now he's at 30, so he doubles what he was doing in 2019 2 years ago, and even had 10 minutes of what he was doing last year in 2020, which is honestly great for the Celtics. I think it's kind of the Tanner Houck situation where I know Rob Williams had his injuries and Tanner Houck, even they never wanted to, give him a full game pitching since he always said, but the second time he goes to a lineup is when he gets lit up, so let's only give 4 innings of pitching.
Mm-hmm.
I think Robert Williams, Tanner Houck, very similar talent. Both players can be really dominant. You just got to give them the time. Obviously, Robert Williams get 30 minutes a game. You see that. Tanner Houck, give him 6 innings rather than 4 innings. I think they adjust. Obviously, very good players. I think it's a similar comparison there because both teams were babying and doctoring the amount of minutes they gave to both those guys, which I feel like I know Rob Williams had his injuries, but the Celtics definitely could have used it.
I feel like that was a good move.
Last year.
We definitely could have used it, but I also think it was a good move. You saw the way he got injured, especially in that Nets series last year. It seemed like anytime we played him more than 20, 25 minutes, he was getting hurt.
You can't do his whole career. You can't play 10 minutes his whole career. You got to just.
That was my biggest fear about this year. I remember actually our first week on the podcast when we were previewing the Celtics, I said my biggest fear is not having a replacement for Robert Williams if or when he gets injured. Because that had happened pretty much every year up until this point. He's sustained a lot of different injuries that last up to weeks. He missed most of the series against Brooklyn last year, and we could have used him then. Same with Jaylen Brown. This team's had lack of ability to stay healthy in the last couple of years. It's been great to see this team finally gain some consistency and get to play together for the last few weeks. And I really think that's a huge reason why we've been able to stay hot and go on this win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how it goes. Big game tomorrow against the Nets. Obviously went down to the last 10, tough loss to the Pistons, but now they're at the All-Star break. Speaking of the All-Star break, though, that dunk contest, they got to figure something out next. They got to make it more entertaining.
It was just boring.
Get Anthony Edwards in there. The GOAT, my boy, love Anthony Edwards. Get John Moran.
That's a good start, getting some players that people really want to see in the dunk contest.
Anthony Edwards.
Obi Toppin is obviously a great dunker, but there's bigger stars out there, like guys you said. John Morant would be awesome to see.
He gets hurt a lot, Josh, so I don't think he probably would. But Anthony Edwards, if he stayed healthy for the most part of his whole career, in his 2 years in the NBA, love Anthony Edwards, future MVP. I think honestly getting him in there.
Remember that one dunk contest like 6 years ago, and there was like Paul George, Dame, John Wall. There was 3 on each side. There was 3 East and 3 West. They kind of switched it up that one year.
Yeah, they tried something different. They've been trying to do things different for the last few years. They have everything at 50 now. Everything's a 49 or 50.
Yeah, I don't like that everyone just gets 10s. It should be legit.
It's going to be a 50. You know what I mean? It's
I don't
tough.
like that. Ever since the Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine dunk contest, whenever that was, 2 or 3 years ago, I really think the ratings have been a little sketchy. Everyone giving 10s and 9s for everything, no matter what they actually think of the dunk.
Yeah, it's tough. I think you got to get AE in there, Anthony Edwards. That's my boy. Shout out Law too.
And I saw one thing the other day. It's just getting harder to have a good dunk contest too, because a lot of these dunks we've seen before, and the more cool dunks that happen, crazier and crazier dunks that happen, the harder it is to go beyond that for new players.
Yeah,
but
it'll be interesting.
We've seen it up till this point.
You're never going to get LeBron in it, which I think would be sick. Obviously, you're never going to get him in it since how much he trains a year. LeBron's never going to want to try to do a dunk contest, get hurt in that when he trains 365 days a year to try to win a championship. He's never going to do it. But I would love it, obviously. But I would never want to do it because he'd get hurt or something too, and I never want to see that. But obviously, you get younger guys, as we said, Anthony Edwards. Obi Toppin was a solid one. Obviously, he's had some really good dunks in college, too. I think he won a college dunk contest, if I remember right, or a high school dunk contest. He won one of them.
Something like that, yeah.
Remember seeing that on Instagram.
Yeah, he was a good addition to the dunk contest lineup.
The three-point contest was pretty interesting, too. Conley Towns with the win. I thought he had no chance.
He was lights out in that finals round. Yeah, we were watching that in our apartment. He just hit the 2 3-point shots from, 2 Mountain Dew spots or whatever they call it.
7 in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nuts.
I think he hit 4 out of 5 on his money ball rack. He was unreal that night.
Yeah, Cat was on. I'm a fan of Cat. I like
him. If I had to rank who I thought was going to win that game by chance, I would have picked Cat number 6.
Yeah, I would go Luke Kennard number 1.
Especially going on, Luke Kennard, I would have thought him too.
He's coming off a game 89 from 3. He's coming off a game 89 from 3. Shout out Clips. Clips are all dogs. I'm wearing a Clippers sweatshirt right now, actually.
Yeah, you became a big fan. Almost as big as the Celtics now. It's crazy.
The Clippers are all dogs. You gotta watch them play. They dive on every loose ball. Tyronn Lue, they've had a great season without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
I like watching the Clippers.
They've played great all year. Terrence Mann stepped up.
I enjoyed watching them with Reggie Jackson in the playoffs last year. That was fun to watch.
Reggie, obviously,
he was
very good
hard.
player. Marcus
He's the guy I wanted the Celtics when the Celtics had a point guard hole last offseason. I wanted the Celtics to bring him on. Obviously, bringing on Schroeder, I was happy about that. But one of my first thoughts was Reggie Jackson. Because he was available for a short while. Yeah,
being 29 and 31 without those 2 guys in the Western Conference is honestly impressive, especially in the same division as the Warriors, the Lakers, Suns. Exactly,
Suns have been the hottest team in the league.
And a lot of superstars in that division. It's probably the biggest in the NBA, maybe. It's top of my head.
Yeah, probably Lakers, Warriors, Suns.
You got Anthony Davis, LeBron James.
Warriors and Suns are probably the 2 best teams in the NBA right now.
Warriors, Clay, Steph. Devin Booker, Ayton. That's a great division. But they've been great. The Tyronn Lue just shows how great of a coach he is, and they're dogs. They'll never not drive in a loose ball, and that's why I love them. I love hustle. That team hustles. hotter than any team I've ever seen in any sport. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Tyronn Lue. I'd say it was him, but I don't know if it's the players they're just talking. I don't know if they're both all in it to win it. I think they probably all are and are on the same page. They all want to win, which would make sense. But big fan of them, though. I'm repping them right now because why not? Roll Clips, baby.
Yeah, you love your Clips. Celtics, though, as we look forward to the next couple of games, can hopefully keep their hot streak going. Against a weaker Nets team, with KD, Kyrie, and Simmons being out, hopefully can pull out a win there. Celtics are favored. And then moving through March as well, a little bit of a lighter schedule comparable to the last few weeks that we've had. We got Detroit, Indiana, Atlanta. Memphis should be a good game. That's at home a week from Thursday. And Brooklyn, Detroit. And then it gets into a bit of a more difficult stretch. But hopefully we can pick up some more wins here. Things are getting really close in the standings. We're 4.5 games behind first. Every team in those top 6 right now is really within reach of the number 1 spot. And all it's going to take is a couple wins, string a couple together, and we could be a 3 seed in a week from now if things go right. So definitely will be interesting to see how things play out the next few weeks in the NBA.
I still think the Bucks and Sixers and Nets are better teams. I think they'd all beat us in 6 games, but I do think the Celtics can finish around 5, 6.
I think in a 7-game series, I agree with the Bucks and Nets, but I think a 7-game series, both teams fully healthy, I think we can still take the Sixers.
It'd be tough.
You've seen how we've played them before in the playoffs with Embiid and Simmons. Obviously, Harden's going to add a different element. But this team, we have a lot of great defenders now. Smart and Derek White in the backcourt. We've seen Smart play against Harden before, and usually he's a gritty defender and always plays James Harden super hard. That one game we were talking about, I was there actually a couple years ago when Smart drew those 2 charges on James Harden at the end of the game, had a big win over the Rockets, had a 26-point comeback. Yeah, that was unreal. So I'm actually not too worried about Harden playing the Celtics. Embiid is obviously going to be a tough matchup. But with Williams stepping up and Horford's always played Embiid well historically, actually. I still think we can take them in a 7-game series. It should be close either way. Obviously, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, though, a little bit of a different story. In Brooklyn just having too much firepower, and then the Bucks having a guy like Giannis with a team of shooters built around him is always tough to beat. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Move into it.
So now moving in to the MLB lockout. Currently, the MLB lockout's been going up to December 2nd. They're now 2.5 months in, which is honestly depressing, especially since, as I've mentioned multiple times now, this free agent class was one of the most stacked in MLB history. Also factor in how great that MLB playoff, television, everything in the MLB, everything was televised, and that whole playoff run that the Braves had, everything was so exciting. I think the MLB really fumbled the bag at how much they could have made a difference with how much ground they were gaining on their views. They've been struggling for the last 3 to 5 years now, and obviously with this lockout that's now heading into 3 months in, it's not a great thing. MLB owners and the MLB representatives have met with the MLB Players Association this whole week, 3 days in now. The meeting for 4th day tomorrow in Jupiter, Florida. The last 3 meetings before this, so three meetings in January, between December and January, the MLB representatives walked out a half hour in, even checked out of their hotel once, which, I don't know, they're acting like children, but regardless,
it's
ridiculous. It's nuts. They gotta grow up. Obviously, fans want to play, the players want to play. The owners are making money regardless. They don't really care. They're losing out on ticket money, but I'm sure they don't even care. But anyways, they walked out. 3 of their first 3 meetings they have, but now in this week where they've met, they haven't really made too much progress. But I guess the good thing is that they had a 5-hour meeting on Monday, so it shows that at least they're listening to each other. The problem is, though, they need a deal by February 28th on the competitive balance tax, and they need a collective bargaining agreement before that day, February 28th, in order to start opening day on March 31st. I think even if they got it by then, which it's a dream for it to even happen, I think, honestly, by February 28th, that's only 5 days away, and they're millions of dollars off of everything they want. You'll still need to have a 2-week period of free agency with guys like Trevor Story and Carlos Correa and Freddie Freeman and Kyle Schwarber to sign. Guys like Aaron Judge, Jacob deGrom, they all want extensions. There are guys that are hurt that can't even work with the team's trainers because there's no communication between the team and players and trainers and officials and everything. It's just a whole mess. There's going to be guys that are getting hurt now in the season because they didn't have a full spring training to throw, especially pitchers. I'm most worried for them. A lot of guys need that 6 weeks of throwing in order to get their arms warmed up for the season. One problem with it is that arbitration has actually been a big issue right now for the collective bargaining agreement. The MLB They currently said they'd give the pool at $20 million for the top 30 players for arbitration. It's not at 15 they wanted to give. Now they'll give 20. The MLB Players Association realized the budget is still at $115 million. So it's $100 million or $95 million of a difference to split between the top 150 players in the MLB Players Association's proposal. But $100 million for arbitration being that much off, it's a far difference. And then obviously, now another thing is the MLB Players Association wants to get a draft pick lottery in order to stop teams from tanking. Since right now in the MLB, it just goes based off of records. So the Red Sox finished with fourth worst record in the 2020 season. They got the fourth pick, drafted Marcelo Meyer, the top prospect. The MLB Players Association now said they'd give the top 4 picks. There'd be a draft lottery for the top 4 picks between, I believe, the top 4 worst records. I'm not sure. But they said 3 originally. But the MLB Players Association wants the top 8 picks to be decided by a lottery, so that's another issue. The luxury tax has been an issue for years in Major League Baseball. Right now, in the competitive balance tax, the MLB Players Association has offered $245 million to be their offer, and the owners have given $214 million. So another $31 million off there. Big difference, especially since these are billionaire owners. I mean, they don't want to budget all, even if it's $30 million, they don't want to budge on that. But you'd think they would, just because they want to obviously play the game. But
you'd think you'd want to play, yeah, but
they don't care at all.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't make a difference for some of them.
And then, so the arbitration pool, $95 million off, pre-arbitration pool, bonus pool, that is. And the minimum salary, they're $135,000 off what they want. Currently, the NBA Players Association wants $770,000 dollars in 2022, so $775,000 is what they want as the minimum salary. But the MLB Players Association is sitting at $630,000, so that's a big difference. The MLB Players Association, even with $630,000, would be a 10% increase from what it was in 2021. But the MLB Players Association wants a 35.8% increase, so huge difference there, which is obviously not great. I mean, Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers in baseball, just about my favorite one. If he's not number 1, he's number 2. Luis Severino as well. He said, we want a system where the threshold in penalties don't function as caps, allow younger players to realize more of their market value, make service time manipulation a thing of the past, and eliminate tanking as a winning strategy. The way they have to do that is raising the minimum salary, getting a draft lottery, things the MLB Players Association and the MLB owners haven't been able to agree on, which honestly is childish, especially since the Red Sox are supposed to have their first spring training games this coming week, actually. They're supposed to play Northeastern tomorrow, I believe, and then play the Astros on March 2nd. No, that was their first home one, was it? Let me see. Their first game was supposed to actually be February 26th against the Braves. So 3 days from now was supposed to be their first game on Saturday. Wow. The MLB canceled all the spring training games all the way up to March 4th. Mm-hmm. Even if, I don't know why they canceled just to March 4th. Because realistically, let's say you have an agreement on February 27th magically. They're not going to jump into exhibition games a week later. Pitchers need 2 weeks to throw. That's why they're always like a week and a half ahead of, the position plays. Pitchers and catchers always go earlier. And that's the thing. You're cutting spring training games. And obviously now the problem is that if they don't have an agreement by February 28th, this coming Monday, not only are players not going to get the money that they're supposed to get for each day of the MLB season, so you're cutting players' pay. They're also going to have less than 162 games, which also is depressing as a baseball fan since I love the season being long 162. And it's going to be, my prediction
that was a great day, the first couple of days of the baseball season. There's games on all day.
It's beautiful.
It's just super exciting. Yeah,
nice weather. I think right now my guess would be that the MLB will come to an agreement with the Players Association. I'd hope in the next 2 weeks, maybe start the season by April 20th. That's just a guess now. That'd be a dream, actually, April 20th. It seems that right now they're
that could be a little
$30 million off. They're very far off, even in the taxes, too. I mean, the current payroll in the MLB, the most the team with the most money, the Dodgers and the Padres, they have $210 million. They exceeded last year. Now the MLB wants a threshold of $210 million. But the problem with that being is that every team, a lot of the top teams, that is, are very close to that $210 million threshold. I mean, you got the Padres and Dodgers who went over that last year. The Dodgers went over it, getting Max Scherzer, already having paid Trevor Bauer $41 million for last year. Obviously, everything that was going on with him, they made a trade for Scherzer, didn't care about going over the luxury tax. Try to go for it to win it. I understand that. But there are teams like the Phillies who are at $209 million, Yankees at $208, Mets at $208, Red Sox at $207, Astros at $206. That's 5 teams that are within $3.4 million per Jeff Passan, very close to that $210 million threshold the MLB is offering. The Players Association and them haven't been able to agree. Obviously, that's an issue since the MLB is at $210. The Players Association is sitting at 245 right now. And then the MLB just offered 214, so it's still $31 million off. That big financial gap, as Jeff Passan said, is massive, and he doesn't think it's going to be cleared up, very quickly either, since the financial accountability between the MLB and the owners, and obviously every player itself, there's a lot at stake for all of them. But I think the players just want to play, and that's the issue. I mean, this is the fourth straight day they're going to be tomorrow. The MLB Players Association is going to counter everything that the MLB owners brought today. The problem is that the owners are all on the same page. So when you have 30 owners who are all billionaires on the same page, it's very hard for the Players Association to gain any ground. I'm stumbling on my words as saying the MLBPA as much as I'm saying it.
That's a lot of letters.
But we'll see how it goes, though. The taxes actually have been a big factor in what they're disagreeing on. They've actually disagreed on ads on jerseys. The owners want that. The players don't want it. I mean, the Major League Baseball has been the hottest sport to change anything over the past 10, 20, 30 years. They don't want to change any of the rules, anything. They've been trying to change things to make the game quicker and stuff to try to appeal to people that say baseball's too long of a game. But now you want to add ads to jerseys when you were the hottest sport to change anything for the last 20 years. You were so obstinate to make any changes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, though. It'll be hard. Tough. The owners want a hard cap. And the problem with that is the players want to go actually higher with the cap. And having a hard cap in baseball would be interesting since they definitely need a salary floor so that teams can't, just spend $50 million a year, $60 million a year like the Pirates and the Rays do every year. I think you've got to have like $100 million just to keep it competitive. The Pirates know they're not going to, win, so they're just signing guys to low contracts, just saving money. I don't understand what they get out of that since you're just basically quitting on the season by June, but they're very much in different viewpoints. Spring training games have been canceled all the way up to March 5th, and if they don't have a deal, as I said, by this coming Monday, March 31st won't be opening day.
Could be tough for April baseball, yeah.
Which honestly sucks. Which sucks, and that's the thing. The taxes have been
trying to go to some Red Sox games late April. And
another thing is that the MLB right now wants to increase for luxury tax, people that go over the luxury tax, they want to increase the tax rate from 20% to 50% for first-time violators, which is a big jump from the 20% to 50 cents to 30%. It's a lot more money, a lot of millions of dollars, probably tens of millions of dollars that teams have to give up extra now for going over the luxury tax like the Dodgers did this last year. So a lot of things they're not on the same page on, and obviously that's a problem, especially as a baseball fan like me. Hopefully things work out. We'll see. We'll definitely cover it next week. Hopefully by next week we will have some updates. Yeah. You'll actually be in Florida for spring break. Maybe you guys can fly down from Clearwater.
Maybe we'll get to see a game in 2 weeks. Catch some Red Sox. We'll see.
You never know. They cancel all the way up to the 5th. So
I'll be there till
spring break.
The 9th, actually. So you never know. We got a chance. But
the one thing with that is that it would be sick. Obviously, to have spring training games. I definitely watch them. I love watching baseball in general. The problem with that is that you're gonna have to give at least there's going to have to be a week or 2 weeks of free agency for teams to talk to guys like Freddie Freeman and Kyle Schwarber and Carlos Correa and Trevor Story, all these guys I highlighted. But secondly, you're going to have to give all these players, position players probably need 2 or 3 weeks to get in shape, hitting-wise, throwing and all that. But pitchers need those 4 to 6 weeks of actual full spring training games to get into it. And now you're cutting the season short probably, which is going to be
it's like football. You can't just cut out preseason and then go. You just got
it's nuts. And now, past February 28th, I believe that guys like Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole are going to be losing. I think I saw a graphic today. It was like $130,000 each day past February 28th.
Paid so much. Like, what do they get?
35, $40 million a year. Yeah, they're right in that
crazy.
range.
So,
pitching's the best job in the country.
Right now,
I always said.
Themselves.
Pitch 1 day a week, 1 out of 5 games, and
he's not wrong.
7 innings. You're getting millions of dollars just to throw a game. You're getting $1.5 million if you Garrett Cole.
Hang out in the clubhouse the other 6.
Exactly. Garrett Cole was hurt last year too, and so he missed probably 5 starts, but still got his $35 million. Baseball's all guaranteed money, and
that's like LeBron James. He makes like $27,000 every minute on court.
Every game, What a beast, though. Hey,
just from his contract.
That's how much money they make, though. That's the thing. But we'll see how it goes, though. Having a delayed spring training obviously isn't great. It's not exciting. Obviously, delaying free agency and not letting teams even train with the training staff and all that isn't great. And then obviously the Red Sox had a lot of decisions to make. Obviously having to give guys like Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers potential extensions, trying to figure out ways to keep Kyle Schwarber in the lineup. Obviously you still have to re-sign him if you want to keep him. Pitching, the Red Sox signed a couple guys right before the MLB lockout happened. James Paxton was a good signing and Mike Waka, but Paxton will be out until like June or July. It actually might help him. I got it's going to be out until July.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll help him, but we'll see how it goes, though. It's definitely not favorable, but I'm hoping things work out and we only miss maybe 20 games. But that's another thing. MLB, they're going to be cutting out 20 games in a season. I don't know how you're going to cut games. You have to make a whole new schedule like you did in 2020. So 2 of the last 3 years are going to be short seasons. It's not great. Commissioner Rob Manfred definitely fumbled the bag, especially since league revenues grew 167% from 2003 to 2019. That was right before the pandemic. But now, with the base tax threshold growing up 76% from 117 million to 206 million. Obviously, the owners and stuff are making more money. League revenues grew from 3.88 billion to 10.37 billion. This comes from an article in The Athletic, I believe this came from. So the MLB's still making their money, so I don't think they care, especially since they're still making, now they're making 11 billion, a season.
It's crazy.
So they don't care, but I think obviously it's not great from a fan's perspective. And
definitely not. Yeah, we just want to get into the ballpark, watch some games.
That's the thing. So that's it. Oh, the MLB current lockout, as I said, now it's 2.5 months in. By the time we get back next week, it's going to just be about 3 full months into the lockout. They have said that they could keep the collective bargaining agreements going into spring training. So if the MLB wanted right now to lift the lockout, they could. They could actually lift the lockout right now, and all 30 teams could go to spring training, and players could go back to the field, and fans can go back to the stands right now if they wanted to. They could keep the bargaining going into spring training, but neither side really wants to budge at all. So we'll see. But that's
It's
that.
tough, yeah.
I'm happy I got to get that rant in. So it's a big thing.
Yeah,
It's
hopefully we'll
probably
have
the
some
biggest thing in
updates
sports.
next Wednesday. Yeah, it is
Hopefully.
huge. Hopefully we'll have an update, get a better timeline on when we can expect the season to begin. Obviously
Absolutely.
looking tough right now. One thing I want to bring up, though, we haven't really talked BC football in the last couple of weeks. They've had a couple tidbits of news in the last few weeks. Today, actually, it was announced that running backs coach Rich Gunnell, who was one of BC's best wide receivers of all time, is no longer with the staff. They didn't give a reason, but he was actually the only coach that stayed with BC through the Steve Adazio to Jeff Hafley coaching change.
I liked him, yeah.
We have assistant running backs coach Savon Huggins coming up. He's been a great recruiter for the team. He will take an L spot as running backs coach. There's actually been a good amount of movement on the BC football coaching staff front this offseason. Most notably, wide receivers coach Joe Daly moving to the NFL to be wide receivers coach for the Carolina Panthers, and offensive line coach Matt Applebaum moving to coach the Miami Dolphins in the same role. Couple new hires for BC football. Offensive coordinator, I can't remember if we mentioned it before, John McNulty, the Notre Dame tight ends coach, should be a good fit. Worked with Hafley before. Solid recruiter. He's already been getting his name out there for a couple big-time 2023 recruits. So hopefully he can do some wonders for the staff. He's actually had 2 other experiences in his career as play caller, both with Rutgers. He'll be doing the play calling duty for BC, something we definitely need to step up in after Frank Sinetti last year really failed to utilize Zay Flowers and Jalen Gill as he could have. So really excited to see what McNulty does with that offense. So he had 2 stints with Rutgers as offensive coordinator and play caller. The first time he was super successful. It was under Greg Schiano. He actually had the first team in FBS history with a 3,000-yard passer, 2,000-yard rusher, and 2,000-yard receivers. The Scarlet Knights that year were breaking school records left and right. They had a great year offensively under him. And then he came back, and I want to say it was 2018, and they just didn't cut it. They played poorly. They were one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. We'll see what version of McNulty we get, but he's had great reviews from guys like Tom Coughlin, who called him a great coach and a great leader.
Love Tom Coughlin, the GOAT.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of him.
Love TC.
But, I've only heard good things about him in his time at Notre Dame, so we'll definitely see, what happens with him. Hopefully he helps guys like Zay Flowers and Jalen Gill develop and become who they can really be on the field, 2 super explosive wide receivers. I really want to see them get used more. McNulty's actually already said that we're going to be seeing Zay Flowers a lot more next year. Apparently Zay Flowers has been in his office talking with him every day so far, and they're definitely looking for ways to get him the ball more often, so I'm pumped about that. And then another coaching change we made, we hired Dave
Guglielmo. He was actually the Giants' offensive coordinator, offensive line coach last year during the pandemic. We fired
2-time Super Bowl champ too.
The problem with him though is now he's going on to his 10th team in 11 years. I heard he's not the nicest of guys. He's very rough, and sometimes he can have a different opinion. And I think that's part of the reason he's now going into his 10th team in 11 years. But I'll say this though, he is a very good.
He has had success, yeah.
But I do think maybe his rough attitude may play a role in him not seeing eye to eye with people and him being on his 10 teams. Most
We'll
of
see
the
what
time,
happens, though. It's going to be interesting to see because we got
they stay.
4 out of our 5 O-line spots are open right now. So we'll definitely have to see what happens. A lot of young guys are going to have to step up. Christian Mahogany being the only returning O-line starter. So definitely interested to see what happens. Matt Applebaum with the O-line is a little bit underwhelming. Every season, or at least both seasons under him, it felt like we were ranked very highly in a lot of preseason polls for having the top O-line in the country. And, it was so underwhelming the way they performed this year, especially against the likes of Florida State. We just kind of got burned all game. Seemed like everyone really, aside from Zion Johnson, it seemed like, especially in the outside with the tackles, we were getting burned a lot. So definitely want to see a step up in O-line play this year. I had very high expectations for that room last year, and they didn't cut it as much as I would have hoped. But we'll see what happens under this new staff. And then one more change as well with Joe Daly leaving for the Panthers. Hafley decided to hire Darryl Wyatt from UCF. There's not too much on him, but we'll definitely see what happens.
Though.
Yeah,
it was a good program, but it's interesting though with all those changes. Speaking of offensive coordinator positions, my family friend from the Cape, Tim Loftus, wanted to talk about a little bit about Bill O'Brien, Dave O'Brien, the Red Sox announcer, not him. Bill O'Brien potentially become the Patriots offensive coordinator. I think that'd be a cool job for him.
Yeah, that would be
I
very
think the Patriots
cool.
could definitely use him, seeing how well he played. Obviously, with a lot of weapons on Alabama's offense, I get it. Bryce Young, John Mechie, James and Williams, all great players. I think having him, though, to come in with Mac Jones, give another eye about how to get the ball downfield. He's not a great GM, but he's a very good
he's a good coach. He's a great offensive mind.
Great offensive
defensively and
too.
As a general manager, he was pretty terrible at times, but definitely offensively, he's been great. You saw what he did with DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson in Houston. So he's been there before. He can, craft a great offense. Definitely made some questionable trades though. So as long as he's not in any positions of power like that, I'd be all for that.
Yeah, he said Bill O'Brien coming to the Pats. I think it'd be a good move. But speaking of BC football, just a change of topic real quick. BC football, though, obviously guys entering the transfer portal. 3 of my favorite players, basically: Kobe White, C.J. Lewis, Jelani Galloway. I don't think
at the wide receiver room.
Most
of the depth is out. Yeah,
but I love Jelani Galloway. Wish him the best of luck. Kobe obviously moves on to an FCS program, and where do you go? James Madison. And then C.J. Lewis hasn't announced where he's going yet. But C.J., Jelani Galloway, Kobe, 3 of my favorite players. All of them leaving's tough, but wishing them nothing but the best in the future. I love all 3 of those guys.
Can't blame them, though, with guys like Zay Flowers, Jaden Williams breaking out, Jalen Gill. It's just tough for them to find playing time, especially Kobe White now and Jelani Galloway kind of got buried in the depth chart the past season.
Those are very good players, though.
C.J. Lewis, before he got hurt, he was incredible. He had a great season for us last year, having that huge touchdown catch against Clemson where he, caught it an inch off the ground. That was sick. Had a big touchdown catch against Louisville, too, last year. That's one of my fears for BC this upcoming season is having a big end zone target. With Trey Berry going to the NFL, we haven't really found a tight end answer yet. And same with the red zone wide receiver with the departure of C.J. Lewis. Both Flowers, Gill, and Williams actually are all small, speedy guys. So we'll have to see where the team moves. There's one freshman, Joseph Griffin Jr., from Springfield Central, who my high school played in football a couple times. He's 6'4", has a big time frame, 4-star recruit. He should be a great player and has a chance to make an immediate impact on the team this season. So we'll see what happens with him, but I definitely think he'll be a contributing factor to the offense this year. So look out for him.
But real quick, right before we go, I want to mention the Bruins had a big win yesterday over the Colorado Avalanche. #1 record, actually, in the NHL, the Avalanche. Bruins beat them 5-1 very handedly. That was on Monday, so 2 days ago now. Yeah, afternoon game.
President's Day game.
Pasternak said he always loves his afternoon games. He scored 2 goals, had an assist, 8 shots on goal, which is elite. Bergeron had a great game, too, 7 shots on goal, added a goal and assist. He had a couple points. Taylor Hall had 3 assists, which was great. As I said, David Pasternak had a great game. Jeremy Swayman, once again, playing very well. Only gave 1 goal to that great Avalanche offense. 28 out of 29 shots he faced, he saved. 966 save percentage on the day. The Bruins played very well, though. Coming off 2 wins, obviously the Senators not the best team. Shout out Adam Gaudette, though. He plays the Senators, and they're also not the best team. They beat them in OT, though, which was nice. And they're now coming off a huge win against the Avalanche, who beat us actually in January, at the end of January in OT, 4-3. It was a tough game there, January 26th of us, so just under a month ago now. The Bruins came out, though, had a big win in the afternoon. Hopefully more afternoon games would be nice since Pasternak says he loves playing them. So we had school on Monday.
Yeah, no, we had school. Questionable call by BC having school on President's Day. Only school in the area, really, that had it. But
only BC.
Here we are, 3 days into the week. Should be 2. Yeah, the Bruins have been heating up, though. It's been good to see. Fourth in the Atlantic Division right now, behind the Leafs, Lightning, and Panthers. I mean, not bad to see. We're definitely within reach of all those teams coming down the final stretch of the season. Only 6 points behind the Leafs, so if we keep playing hot, we could jump them hopefully in the standings. We'll see what happens as the season progresses. But definitely good to see that win over the Avalanche. Have been really good this season.
Yeah, play the Seattle Kraken
win,
tomorrow, so it's actually at Seattle. So the Bruins probably flew across the country today, I'd imagine.
Yeah, first time ever Bruins playing in Seattle.
I'm saying,
so
they flew across the country today,
should
so
be cool.
Hopefully they get some rest. They'll be without, I believe, Brad Marchand and someone else. I think I read today. So
Carlo.
Okay, they're throwing a couple guys, so that's tough. But I think Brad Marchand had a family matter. They actually said Bruce Cassidy, the head coach, said today that it was a good family matter. So maybe he had a kid or something. Something was good. I guess.
Yeah, that'd be great. Good for him.
So missing a couple guys of Carlo as well, but hopefully Bruins stay hot, get that win tomorrow. They won the last 2 games. Obviously had a couple tough games before that, but 2 wins in a row, especially beating the best team in the NHL, is huge. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
but
can't be mad about that.
we're positive about that.
With that, we'll wrap up another week. It's always been great. Thank you guys for listening to us another week. Crazy to believe this is week 11 now.
Week 11, the 13th episode of the Christmas special, the Beanpot special.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great times on here. Thank you guys for listening again, and we'll see you next week, same time.
We'll be back next week. March 2nd it will be. Wow, it's already in March. March 2nd. We might even preview March Madness. By the time we come back, it'll be March 16th. So
yeah, then we'll be already into the ACC tournament.
I was going to say, I'd be into it. Maybe we'll just give a quick preview, maybe just into the ACC tournament, some of the college basketball next week.
We can preview the conference championships.
Maybe,
and then we'll do March Madness the week after. We'll have a week off. What Wednesday is that? It's March 9th? Okay. Yeah, we got spring break that week. Big week in the Cape for Joey. Big week in Clearwater Beach for myself. We're both stoked.
Both ready to get
after
after
be a
it.
good time.
Wish I got that 5,000 last night, Northeastern basketball.
Yeah, you would have been
Shout out to
that
Huskies
week.
basketball, though. But
You would have been
Northeastern.
traveling the world like Magellan.
I would have been out there. You already know it's my dream. But yeah, Northeastern basketball, though, I don't think there'll be in the CAA tournament this year, unfortunately. So still go Huskies basketball. Big game tomorrow night against William & Mary, the worst team in the conference, compared to the second worst. So I don't know, tough season for Bill Cohen. But we will preview college basketball next week again. We've previewed college hockey a ton, but we'll get into college basketball next week with March Madness coming March 2nd.
Yeah, big season coming up.
7 to 8 p.m. Hopefully have some call-ins too.
For sure.
Would love maybe 2 or 3 call-ins next week. Give us some opinions on anything we've mentioned. It'd be cool. But I get all the texts. Eduardo, Tim Loftus, my family, Mike
we appreciate
Curley,
all those texts.
Mark Walsh, always listening. And shout out to the whole Loftus family, Brian Keefe, Mary Keefe. Thank you guys so much for listening. My whole family, all my friends, the O'Malley family. You guys are the best. Thank you, Eduardo, as well. Thank you guys for listening always. Though we appreciate it. And we'll be back next week, though, same time. So see you guys then. Stay safe and well, and be careful this weekend of the snow. Stay well.